Yeah, I'm doing League Academy right now.
Oh, nice.
Alright, so looking at... where did I leave off?
Omni?
Oh yeah, okay, sweet, thanks. So yeah, like I was saying with Surprise X, go with 2109. You'll probably see, like, you can go to pro builds and they have some pretty good like builds on Heimerdinger. Not a lot of people build them. I would definitely go 2109 in Masters. One more victim. He is only level 6, so I don't think I can really comment on his runes in Masters. But generally on Soraka, like any sort of ability power on your blues is good. You can go CDR on your blues. Generally want some sort of like health or armor on your yellows, and then your reds. I think people generally go with magic penetration and then ability power quintessences. I could be wrong. Gun and roses. He's got flat AD red, so he's looking to be pretty aggressive. He's got armor yellows. Flat magic resist blues, 3 of those, and then flat cooldown reduction, that's good. And then flat AD quints. So he's looking to be really aggressive in lane. He's fine. He's also 21-9, that's good. Generally on like bruisers and tankier champions, you want to go 21-9, and like mages to do sustain, like range magic damage, you want to go 21-0-9. AD carries, you also tend to go 21-9. Cry 45 is 21-1-8. I think that should be 21-0-9. I think it's just a mistake that she made. I don't think she meant to go 21-1-8. I wouldn't put the 1 point movement speed, I would just put it in Phase Walker so you can recall quicker. Like 0.5% movement speed isn't really going to give you an advantage. Even 1.5% movement speed on someone like Yasuo is only 5 movement speed, so it's not really worth the point. You're better off just like acting faster, honestly. Just because Magic Resist Blues, Magic Resist Blues are fine if you're in like a high pressure lane that's going to poke you a lot, and since you're against Heimerdinger, I can see why you would want to do that. But scaling CDR is damn good on pretty much every mage, so I would definitely look at going to scaling CDR. It makes all of your cooldowns much faster, and with one CDR item you get, what is it called? With just Nashor's Tooth you would have 40% CDR at level 18. The AP quints are good, so that's that. Also, I would go flat health instead of armor. Granted, you could say that you do take a little more physical damage against Heimerdinger than most matchups, but flat health generally tends to be better, and also synergizes. Or the armor is okay because it matches with your shield. Your whenever you have a shield mechanic, like you have Yasuo passive, you have Riven Valor, you have Mordekaiser passive. Anytime you have some sort of shield, typically armor and magic resist damage mitigation gets calculated before damage does. So if you have, say, 25% reduced damage from magic or ability power, and you get hit for 1,000, and you have a shield for 600, it's gonna reduce the damage by 25% before it takes damage off of your shield. That's important because that increases your effective health, as opposed to if you, like, that increases the effectiveness of your passive or your shield that you have. That's damn good. If you didn't know, now you do.
Big organized the scoreboard.
Oh, true. Looks like they have a pause, so this is fantastic for me. Maybe not as fun for you guys, but I'm still running through these, so bear with me. There's a Gragas jungle, right? Yeah, okay.
Is that Karma top?
Yeah, Karma... Is it? Yeah, because it's Riven Jungle. These trolls. So yeah, Karma matchup against Vi, I think wouldn't be that bad. I don't think it's gonna be bad until Vi gets ultimate. So Karma can pretty much snare Vi whenever she Qs in. If she dodges, like sidesteps Vault Breaker, she can just snare Vi and blast her in the face, and Vi can't do anything about it. Vi is gonna have to like be working extra hard to be able to do any damage to Karma, because she can just get hit when she's Vault Breaking by an empowered Karma Q. So yeah, that's gonna be an interesting matchup. I'm gonna go just Karu's runes. It looks like he's got, for your marks, you should run all magic penetration, not any ability power. You don't get much ability power if you put it on your reds to begin with. You only get 0.59, and magic penetration is a higher % damage increase. Since like your magic resist increases your resistance to a particular damage type by a flat percentage, you get more damage by being able to penetrate that than you do by increasing your ratios on your ability power. I mean, and that's even if you have like a 1-to-1 ratio like Vigard W, it would still be more valuable to have magic penetration. That's why with Vigard you build Void Staff second instead of Rabadons. Armor Seals, that's going to be good against Vi. And then Flat Magic Resist Blues, I would have gone with Scaling CDR Blues. That sounds like it'd be damn good on Karma. Ability Power also would have been acceptable. I don't think you need the Magic Resist against their team comp. Like, they have Heimerdinger, they have Gragas, but it's not gonna really be a problem for Karma. If she dies, it's probably gonna be by blowing her up. Arcadia, I don't know anything about Jungle Riven, so I'm not gonna comment on it. Looks like he has like 7.5% cooldown reduction, that's fine. CDR reduction on Riven's pretty good. Flat attack damage to help with the jungle player, and flat armor. That makes sense. Although... OVO Paradise. I would go with attack speed Quince. The flat AD is fine on your marks. You need some attack speed in there somewhere to make it easier for you to trade, and CS. Armor's good. I would consider scaling MR blues instead of flat MR blues, but I guess Kench does do a lot of magic damage, so flat MR blues are fine. And finally, Kench, 0, 14, 16, that's totally fine. Looks like you want that utility, and you have the tankiness from hardiness and resistance. That's good. Running flat health. I would consider just running a shit ton of armor on Kench, especially against the Jinx or Rocket Lion. Just run 21 armor and make them hate themselves. Like, the health is nice because it scales with your passive, but you can buy all that health. Your resistances, like Armor Magic Resist, also, like I was explaining earlier, go really, really well with Tom. Oh my god. One sec.
First love.
Alright, you trolls feel better. Looks like Vi killed Karma. I missed that, so I don't know what happened, but if I had to guess, Karma probably didn't respect Vi's early game damage. Vi does hella damage early on. He just straight up blows you up. It's hard to really account for if you're not used to it, so I can understand that. It looks like she has level 3 now. I don't know if she took E or W. But yeah. Generally want to make sure that you're making good use of your Qs as Karma, and then snaring Vi whenever she over-aggresses. Oh, she might actually get Guns N' Roses here. Nice! A little bit of over-aggression coming from Guns N' Roses. That was very bold. I don't think he thought that he would be in range for a turret shot, but I also don't think he expected Diana E here, so damn good E by Diana. Molly looking thirsty down here. I'm not gonna lie, I would have dove for that. Really good on bot lane for showing some conservatism for how aggressive they're getting. They understand when they need to back off. Like right now, they definitely need to back off. They're probably gonna go down here, especially that red buff is in his way. Yeah, he's done. So this is what Karma wants to do. She wants to poke Vi with Qs, never get in range where she gets hit by a Vault Breaker, and just snare Vi whenever she aggresses. Lucian needs to find his DT top laner. Chair's analysis was a little harsh. Chair should apologize on Whitlaw. The Chair has its own opinions. They don't necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Texas A&M League of Legends. So if there's anything that you have a problem with, if it's a little harsh, vulgar, just understand that that doesn't necessarily reflect our views. Yeah. So the win condition for blue team is that, and whenever you have a Jinx, and you have like decent frontline for her, and you have like a Soraka, your goal is to get that Jinx fed, because Jinx would just kill the entire team. If you watch World today, spoiler alert, mute your headset if you don't want to hear it. Them not banning on against Jinx against on, which is stupid. No matter how well you play a game or how good you think your comp is at deleting a Jinx does a retarded amount of damage, especially compared to other ADs. So you have like Tristana, Vayne, and they're all like kind of hyper carry status for AD carries, and those are the AD carries that feel most oppressive because other AD carries feel kind of useless compared to them. Like Lucian doesn't do nearly as much damage, Ezreal doesn't do nearly as much damage, and their identities don't really match up to make them worse. And there's that ult I was talking about. Looks like Karma's gonna flash away. She should be fine. Oh, Cry 45 might go down here. This is kind of hard for Diana players, determining when they can all-in someone and when they should just keep poking with Q. Diana, you should really be looking to poke with your Q and then using your W to absorb any trades that they do back to you. You can use your W for damage, that's why it has that second effect for the proc, but part of the problem with that is that you might find that the other person trades back more damage than you expected. It works really well against melee champions, against ranged champions, not so much. So you saw Heimer traded back really, really hard there, especially when he got the slow off. If you were to stun Diana, he would have absolutely killed her there. That's something you have to be careful for, is Diana. It's fine to just poke with your Q and get them low, and then you all in them with your ult at the end. You can even use your Q and then R, and then back out, either with your R or just walk away with your shield up. And like, so many people think that they have to Q R and then immediately R again after they consume the charge of Q. You don't have to do that, you can just use it to trade. Raga is having a lot of fun in his bot lane. He probably knows that that's probably the biggest elo disparity. He wants to try and keep it not too snowbally. It looks like one more victim is keep holding his own. He's doing. I mean, granted it's Soraka, so there's not too much you have to do in terms of laning. You just heal your AD carry and land your thing that heals you back. But he's not overextending too much at all, really, and he's doing a pretty good job. One thing I would do is like
For Diana,
what's up? Go ahead.
if you build 40% CDR, her Q has like a 3/4-second cooldown. So it really goes over ult. Do the QR and walk away for 4 seconds and do it again.
Say that one more time. You're really quiet. I'm gonna turn you up.
Oh, my mic. I didn't move my mic. Whoops.
Oh, there we
But
go.
if you build 40% CDR on Diana, her Q has like a 3.5-second cooldown. So you just QR or walk away, then do it again 3 seconds later.
Your lack of Heimerdinger knowledge is tilting me. Well, if you're on my stream, I'm not looking at my chat as often, so I'm sorry. I'll pull that up so I can see what you guys are saying. I'm hosting this on my schools. Yeah. Alright. I mean, so that's one of the reasons why you definitely want to go scaling CDR on Diana. Like, scaling CDR is just so good right now. Especially with Natur's 2 thing, like, the first line now.
Yep.
It's just good all around. 15% CDR is awesome. You can spam your abilities, and when you get blue buff, you can spam them even more. Get an elixir, Sorcerer of Elixir, you'll pretty much have infinite mana and lowest cooldowns. So, it's hard for Diana in this lane, in that Heimerdinger can perpetually push this through. That's what she wants to do. Like, that trade was beautiful. Like, granted, she lost him out there. She could actually go in and kill Heimerdinger if Heimerdinger gets hit by another. The thing you want to be certain of when you're laning is you understand your damage and how much damage your opponent or your laner does. The Riven gang coming in. Flash, W. I think Vi's gonna pick up this kill. Maybe not. Karma Shield OP. That was a... Flash might have been worth it. Am I going back in? Got another R? Perfect. I'm not going to say the flash wasn't necessary because I don't actually know for sure. The Heimerdinger turret does a deceptive amount of damage. It does hella damage. So, very well could have died there. Usually I'm playing Yasuo and Heimerdinger, so I just can wall it and ignore it. And then late game you just like Q it and it dies, so I don't really care. So looking at the farm, it looks like Jiminy Cricket is down in farm, but he did get a kill. So I won't say that Kitty is not applying any pressure, or Riven's not applying any pressure, but Riven Jungle is not very good. Like, Gragas is meta, Riven Jungle isn't. Riven Jungle's clears a little slow, doesn't necessarily come out of the jungle healthy, and unlike a lot of junglers that can just use attack speed to clear faster, Riven has to use like flat AD with her abilities. Heal by omnipotence. That's part of the danger of playing in a Soraka lane, is that you overextend, you get punished really hard. Hey, Cricket coming in again. You have ultimate, he has ultimate, so goes Lucian, that Lucian, and he gives the kill off to Jinx. Very intelligent decision. Jinx is probably the person that carries this game, so you want to get as many kills on her as possible. KDM is able to roam down. A bit of an overstay on blue team with August getting that low. A little greedy to go for Tahm Kench. It's hard to tell because Tahm Kench is so damn tanky. Can't really tell if you can kill him or not. Like, I literally had a solo 2 game not long ago. Tahm Kench went 20 and 2. Can't tell you how many times I thought I was gonna kill this kid and he just murdered me. So, I mean, I make the same mistake. there's only a 500 gold lead in favor of the red team. Not very big, but the way that it is, their soul lanes are getting a lot of pressure exerted on them based on just the way the lane matchups are. Even though they're ahead in gold, that can change very quickly. What Diana's doing right now is really dangerous. Like, there's no vision of the river or the other side of that wall, and she's trying to clear a ward. Generally, you don't want to do that. She actually might pull progress here. I hate Diana. What a dumb champion.
Shut down.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of a misplay on their part. But God, I hate Diana. You don't want to try and clear a pink ward when you don't see anything else around you. Like, their jungler could be there. The reason why the pink is there is so that you don't see their jungler coming. So, like, you go to clear it, the implication is the jungler's like, you know, I put that pink there so I can kill you from that angle so you couldn't see it. So they're gonna go and, like, defend their pink ward unless they just happen to be back. So if you know the jungler's back, or he's, like, in another lane, or he's nowhere near you, it's fine to clear by yourself without any vision. But you have to know that the jungler's somewhere else to do that. Where are my mods? I'm not these. Deleted. Hater nerd. Diana's been doing very well with these trades against Heimerdinger. What Heimerdinger needs to do in that situation is A, he needs to sidestep those crescent strikes. It's shaped like in an arc, so it's kind of deceptive in which way you should dodge. Generally, when it's a max range crescent strike, you just need to walk forward. Like, usually Diana will just flat out miss you because she, like, the way that she angles it. Very few Diana players angle it to where it's in such a way that moving forward will cause it to hit you. You can also move toward the side that isn't the right side of Diana, so you, like, she's facing you, move to your right. I think Cricket's been on point with these barrels. Had a lot of pressure this game. He died twice. I remember one of his deaths. I don't know what the other one was for. But got pretty good pressure on the map. Riven has not had the same amount of pressure and is just kind of farming up. Kind of expected. I wouldn't say Riven ganks are bad, but they aren't great. Because she kind of like has to dash at you and use all of her damage abilities as a gap closer. Like to even get in range to do anything to you, so it's not very good. Whereas Gragas, he has like a Q that slows you from range, he can body slam into you, and then his autos are just truth.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Looks like Vi picked up that turret in top lane. That was big expected. I don't know, I don't say it was big expected. Oh, very good counter gank. Is Heimerdinger gonna live? Nope. I guess I had a good position there, but I don't think it's gonna matter. Omnipotence gets destroyed. God, very nice by top guys to come out like that, and then Riven with the follow-up CC. Sick gank by Gun and Roses. Man, these kids are going ham. They're deep as hell, holy shit. Okay, so Diana picked up a Luden's Echo. I wouldn't say it's bad, it has a lot of front-end burst. But I wouldn't say... I would build Nashor's. I mean, yeah, let me double check on this. Maybe people build something differently now, maybe there is a big change.
I think they built Nashor's Tooth.
Yeah, everyone still builds Nashor's Tooth first. The reason that you build Nashor's Tooth first is that it gives you the attack speed, which, unlike Echo's passive, which does not proc any faster when you get more attack speed, so if anyone wonders why you don't build on Echo, that's why. With Diana, the more you auto, the more her passive goes off. And her passive does a fat amount of damage. So, and then you also get the 20% CDR, so let's use your QR combo a lot more. All of those things make scaling CDR and like Nashor's Tooth all very good on Diana. The attack speed helps proc her passive way more. And you still get a decent amount of AP. The only thing you really lose is that instead of having your passive being you kind of going high with that damage, man. Holy hell. See, like when you get that far ahead, you're playing Diana and you build Luden's Echo because you don't want to listen to Khalil build the stupid ass Nashor's Tooth. You just press 3 buttons and Heimerdinger dies, and then it doesn't matter what you built because you're Diana. And that's the thing that happened in the world today. God, that damage is insane. By coming in for the... So, what is good against Diana is just killing her before she kills you. Like, if you're able to just blow her up, it doesn't matter how much burst she has. Just outburst her, and Vi has the very good pickup by Suge, but it doesn't matter. Vi stands for price. Diana has to be careful here. I think she could... when you have a situation like this where someone is tunneling your support that's like pretty tanky, beat the shit out of him. Like, don't let him hit your support and like do nothing in return. You need to make sure that, like with Diana, she should have been autoing Vi, using some abilities on Vi, and like punishing her for tunneling Tahm Kench. Then if she switches focus, Tahm Kench can turn around and like, I'm not saying you all win them and just like die because their team was obviously right there, but you shouldn't let them trade damage on you for free, if that makes any sense. You should at least be pressuring them while you're running away. You just like attack move. Kinda kite backwards. 17.5 minutes, neither team has taken a dragon. This is interesting for a League Academy game. Oh, Kensuke just savior, man. That's what Tahm Kench is exceptional at, is saving people from risky situations, but couldn't save himself. The support guards the AD, who will guard the support? Riven would kill Jinx ult before combo. That's more... A big problem in silver games is that they don't understand the damage to champions. So, like, a person gets surprised by the amount of damage it takes, but at the same time, a lot of the time, those players that did it are also surprised by the damage that they dealt. Maybe Cry45 knew she was just gonna fucking delete it there, but, I mean, most people don't. Luden's Echo, it's giving an additional 115 damage. And that's not really high for Ludens. They lowered the ratio on that actually because it was broken. But Diana's ratio is pretty good. It's like 0.6 ratio or something like that on W. Effectively something like 0.5 on her W. On her R, something like 0.6. So Diana scales very well with ability power, that's what we're saying here. And then since her base damage is so high, Diana was having a hard time in this lane. I would say that what I would like to see is like maybe an Abyssal Scepter, because when you have high base damage, penetration goes a long way. Like Vigar, high base damage, loads of penetration. You do so much more damage that way. But since Diana is just destroying her lane opponent and is going to destroy him again in another lane, she can build what she wants. Diana can do what she pleases. On topic of Riven's ult, I don't know if everyone knows this, but the missile speed, I forgot how long ago it was, missile speed got reduced, like, had some counterplay to it. So, I see a lot of Riven players not landing that as well. The problem with playing mechanical champions is that you're thinking about how to play something mechanically, you're not thinking about the kinds of decisions you're making. It takes a lot of comfort with the champion and a longer time playing the game to be able to play a mechanically intensive champion while still making good decisions. So generally you'll see certain players like overcommit to things that are silly. It's because they're thinking so much about how they should play their character, they're not thinking about how they should play the game, if that makes any sense. So you have like this meta in League of Legends, which is which turret should we be taking, what's our goal at, what should we be pressuring, what objectives do we need here, oh my god. Oh my god. Cutting the stream off. Holy fuck.
That's
disgusting. Genuinely disgusting. I feel dirty having watched that. It's like Vias in his body Riven after just beating Karma senseless. That's a pretty big deal considering he just tanked that entire minion wave and just did not give a fuck. Vi's sitting on top of the world, Diana also sitting on top of the world. So what Vi's gonna be looking to do since she's putting so much damage is she needs to put herself in a position where she can just blow Diana up. Never mind Diana. Okay, Diana has not bought a Zhonya's actually. So whenever you see a mid laner that is really prone to getting focused, not build Zhonya's, you should punish the hell out of them. You should make them your target focus, you should blow them up, much like they're blowing you up. And as I say this, I'm reading your Zhonya's does nothing for him, and he's obliterated. If you get behind like this, you can't be extended beyond your turret. So, Heimerdinger is a good wave player. You know what Red Team doesn't have? Actually, with Karma, they kind of do. But their siege isn't fantastic. It's okay, but it's not great. They have like poke from Karma. They have like a medium range AD carry, but it's not like they have a Caitlyn just banging away at their turrets or Tristana just blowing them up. So what Blue Team needs to do in this situation is they need to take Heimer, awesome turrets up in front of their turret, and just sit there and wave clear. And then if they overextend or try to dive, let Vi like distance them. Like that's how this should be played out. They have a Soraka, like they can sustain for days. It doesn't matter if they have a Karma. Even against Crescent Strikes, Vi going in really deep. Not with that decision. That was not. I mean, he's doing damage, don't get me wrong, but if Vi had waited for her team to catch up before she did that, they probably would have just completely destroyed them there. Can't show full pen. On that forehead. In terms of like individual play, on red team, everyone's playing pretty solid. There's a few deaths here and there, but no one's like outright just dying a shit ton. And it doesn't seem like it's on any one person to straight up carry the game. Diana's obviously in the best position to straight up carry the game. She probably has the bulk of their gold by a significant margin. She has 9.4k of their 32k gold. It's pretty sizable. It's almost a third of it. So she's pretty important. But on the other hand, on blue team, Marcus has a few deaths, Heimerdinger has quite a few deaths, Jinx died a few times, but right now most of their damage is front loaded into Vi, and what Vi does that is killing one person now. So Vi makes that person Diana before Diana deletes Omnipotence most of the time. They would have a chance of winning this.
Wow.
There's two very large damage threats on blue team, and that's Riven and Diana. You don't have much like big sustain damage like Jinx, but you got a lot of burst. They will blow you up if you miss position, and there's a lot of mispositioning going on. How do I do this? I want to do that. Like, red team, they have decent vision with their jungle, that's fine, but they can't see anything in blue jungle. You get in a position like this, especially, you want to try and like get deeper wards inside of the blue team's jungle, so that you can make those aggressive plays. Right now, blue team is just like throwing waves of their own bodies at red team, so they don't really need that vision because blue team just shows up for them to kill. Yeah, blue team has a ward on the map, 2 wards. One just expired. It's no wonder that they're getting pegged. They have one person that upgraded their sweeper, which is the 80 carry, which is interesting because that's usually the role that wards the least, and it's the only one that's upgraded their side trait. On the other side, you have Heimerdinger upgraded his, very good. You really want to do that as a mid laner. Since you get level 9, you want to upgrade that. It'll help you not get flanked and not getting blown up by Diana, as long as you place them in good situations. How do I go back to that? There we go. The blue team needs to work on their vision game. It is very lackluster. By the looks of it, Soraka does have a ice stone. Oh, we got a fight. Looking at a little deep, using a pick up on. With the calling. He's really trying to get auto attack damage and then let's hide back to the volume. If I get Death Rocket, that's some serious damage. A lot of things just happened. I couldn't keep up with any of it. Diana finally shows up. The problem with that fight is Diana was not there. They lose 2 people for nothing. I actually didn't see if someone got caught. Oh, rest in peace, Heimerdinger. Oh, the Zhonya's! See, you guys build Zhonya's? Oh, he's gonna die here. Oh, he flashes! Alright, see? You build Zhonya's, you don't get blown up, you don't get punished for it. They really need to be more careful about their positioning. They're like getting caught for no reason. Why coming on Diana? Just watch why just blow Diana off. Here we go. There's an assault, or no assault batter.
A little bit more. Yep.
He's out of mana. Vi should literally just go in and ult Diana. She has no Zhonya's. She has no answer to Vi just coming in and just like slapping her in the face. She has no armor. Like, this Black Cleaver Ravenous Hydra Vi will destroy Diana. Like, Diana doesn't have armor of any kind at all. At least Vi has her shield from her passive. That is her passive, right? Yeah, Blast Shield. And, I mean, I think that she would try to delete Diana. Ravenous Hydra, Black Cleaver Vi, that's a disgusting amount of damage. I also, like, one of her abilities does an armor shred. I think it's her standing blows, yeah. Bad damage. Someone is, especially when someone's a glass cannon assassin like this and they don't have a way to get out of a fight once they get in, you should really punish the hell out of them. Like, every time that Diana goes in, Vi should just alter. Jinx uses fucking suck my dick rocket and just blows her that country. Like, that should be the plan. You could literally go in for Assault and Battery and Jinx Rocket and Diana would die. But she has now, so this game just got much harder. Bane, Luden's Echo, Zonia's Hourglass. This is an extremely bursty build. It's not a conventional Diana build, but it's not bad by any imagination. It's just extremely bursty. Very ballsy play by Riven. I would like to see her get punished way more for that. Rest in peace, the Rocket Flock of Flame. It's not long for this world. Katie, I'm probably gonna get out of this. She's running down to the bot lane. Oh. I said, nah, not today. Red team actually has decent ward coverage for the bot side of that jungle. So they should have seen that coming. Blue team, on the other hand, can see absolutely nothing. They have 2 wards on the top side jungle, and like, that would be fine if that gave them moves on Baron, but it doesn't. Like, it helps because they know that there's no one in the top side jungle, so they should assume that everyone's on the bottom side of the map. That's just an assumption you should make. It doesn't matter if you're right or not. It is an intelligent decision that stops you from getting destroyed. Face checking at Diana. Like, if Diana wants to, she could just kill Heimerdinger right now. Probably is. Or she missed. I'm of the opinion that she probably could have missed the Q. Nah, she would have gotten 2 Rs. Alright. I like that Heimerdinger. So you guys been doing a really good job of keeping Lucian alive. I would like to see him use those powers on Diana when she gets into a bad spot. So like, buy Assault and Batteries her, just power. Later, kid. It would be really troll, actually. I don't know what that interaction does.
Smaller than the diagram.
Would not be able to tell you.
The ult would just not do anything. Die ult?
But does it go on cooldown, or does it go on that short 5-second cooldown?
I'm not sure on that part. I think it goes on full cooldown though.
So, part that sucks about, like, Karma has the right idea, but when Vi has Assault and Battery, if she tries to tether her, she's just gonna catch up to here. If Vi's gonna go full damage, I'd like to see a Trinity Force on her. I was just going at Life Gauntlet, that's fine. It'll stop people from being able to get away with her, for sure. A little less damage than Trinity Force, but, I mean, it's probably gonna work out. Vi and Diana look kind of looking like they know that they're the sole carriers of their teams. Diana just goes into mode Jinx pretty much whenever you fight. One of the problems with using like Riven as jungler is that you see she has a Ravenous Hydra and a Warrior right now at 30 minutes. Solo lane Riven would have like a Last Whisper in addition to whatever item the Warrior would have been if she were a solo laner. Probably a Black Claverist, like Hydra, Black Claver, Last Whisper. When you play jungle and you play a jungler that requires a lot of farm, this is why I don't Yasuo jungle anymore. Oh my goodness. Died so fast, Soraka couldn't hit Wish fast enough. Good lord, man. That is some grade A pain. Very late mid turret for how stacked that matchup ended up being. Surprised. One thing that I did notice, like, I should have told them that we have Gavin and Roses lane against Fry and Karu lane against Price X. Because that's like, the discrepancy is an entire league, so that's their like mid-gold against like mid-silver. So that's the explanation for why those lanes went the way they did. I don't think either did like horribly. They certainly didn't win their lanes, but I don't think they did horribly. That's the explanation for why I and Diana are so far right now. Young Lucian Bolt might be going down there. No, there's also there is. This is on Karma. Interesting decision. Oh, the SYD coming in hot. Rest in peace, Karma.
What time are you at?
31, yeah.
So, part of the game that they have right now is that since their team doesn't have like really good siege, they're in that really awkward phase of the game where inner turrets up and inner turrets are like impossible to kill. They actually ruin the game. They killed split pushing. I hate inner turrets now. And if you don't have good siege, you can't really like set up outside of a turret and whack at it. Like, risk getting engaged on or like getting drag assaulted under turret, and then you like for some reason some people decide to die, other people decide not to, and you just wipe. So what they need to be doing is waiting for jungle. That's what I mean by just blowing Diana the fuck up. That should be happening every single time Diana walks into a fight. I should just slap her, like just like that. You want to get to Jinx? Nah, just slap her immediately, and Diana just dies. She has Zonia's, didn't matter. That is a Iceborne Gauntlet Black Cleaver Ravenous Hydro Vi coming straight at you. Like Karma. I don't know how I feel about that. Vi's over there fighting Arcadia, Riven, and that is not a fight they wanted. Questionable flash. Blue team took that fight hard. That actually put them in the lead. So that all came down to Diana getting blown the fuck up. The problem, I mean, it's the same thing that I struggle with in solo queue. You get ahead, your team will start playing differently. They start playing like they're ahead, and they'll be more aggressive and they'll be less careful because they see that they have a bunch of kills. But the reality is, if you're the person that has all the kills and you're not with them or you're dead for some reason, gold may as well not exist because gold's on you. Sure, there's like some residual experience that'll give you like a level advantage. You get 75% of the experience that would take a person to get to their next level when you kill someone. So the experience advantage is definitely there. It's more valuable for mid laners and top laners than it is for, say, AD carries or supports. But it's not enough to make up for the fact that you've got 14,000 of your team's gold. Without Diana, red team is effectively has 34k gold. That's huge. That's massive. So she has to get not deleted by Vi.
Yeah, so especially that Diana is also near 6 items too.
Yeah, I mean, I make the mistake of like getting really fed in solo queue and then being unable to play around players that aren't as strong as me. Because when you're strong, you want to go in and make aggressive plays because you know that you can do them. But then the enemy team just like groups up and they 5-man you. And like you die and now your team is missing their entire lead. So it doesn't matter that you're ever ahead. You may as well have never won your lane. That's the problem. I hate to keep going on the Riven pick, but you play Riven jungle and you get behind, you are literally worthless. Because top lane, when you're behind is Riven, you're pretty worthless. Like, you can get like maybe a money stun and you like get a good execute and you end up snowballing off of it, but that still requires you to snowball. If it's not snowballing as Riven, you have literally no function for your team. I mean, you have W, kind of execute people, assuming your team even wins the fight with you doing nothing, because that's effectively what you're doing, so you have no damage. And when you put your Riven in the jungle, it's even worse if you get behind. It's like taking the top lane Rose and multiplying it by 1,000.
Not to say Riven jungle doesn't work, it works because if you can get ahead, you have so much gold income. You have so much pressure on the map, but that's if you can't get ahead, and Riven jungle is pretty easy to not get ahead.
Oh. Like conventional jungle,
see, here's the
what you want to do.
There's a lot of focus on Diana. Diana's so gold. She can't really do that much, while Vi just destroys the back line, because the back line can't kill off Vi.
The problem is that right now blue team is a triple threat composition. Heimerdinger got behind, but his farm is decent. He's 40 CS down on Diana, but he does magic damage. You can't itemize purely against AD against the team for Jinx and the Heimerdinger. Heimerdinger will do some fat fucking damage. It's hard to engage into that because you just get blown up by turrets, which is what Diana and Riven are running into trouble with. And then you also have the added problem of Diana does manage to get past those turrets, she does manage to get past Chomper, she does manage to get past Gragas Barrel, she does manage to get past Body Slam. You still have the issue that, you know, Vi is just going to straight up delete you when you get there. And that's what's happening. And this is fundamentally a problem with their composition. If Red Team had a more, like, tanky frontline, something they could peel in the jungle, they were going to go with that Karma pick. Like, Tahm Kench is pretty tanky, he's good at saving people. He's not so good at, like, stopping people from running you over.
What would you have done differently for picks, Khalil, for Red Team?
Red Team, definitely don't go Riven Jungle. Grab something like... Yeah, like an Echo would have been actually pretty decent here. You can go with Jin Zhao for the ult to like push them off and isolate Vi. You can go with... I mean, Lee Sin would be good because Lee Sin's damn good at peeling. He'd be able to peel for Lucian and Diana. Actually, it's not even so much healing that's as big as a problem as it is that they don't have a big enough threat. Like, their damage threats aren't able to survive, and that's because they are getting completely countered by this Vi pick. So, like, a Lee Sin pick would have been great, because you just Dragon Rage Vi out whenever she uses Assault and Battery, just immediately get her away from the team. You can use it to set up picks. With the Riven pick, you kind of just assume that people will make mistakes. There's no... Unless you flash engage with Riven, they needed to engage, that's the word I'm looking for. They needed some kind of engage to where they could actually get on top of their priority targets before Vi just blows up Diana. And you don't get that with Riven. The only way you engage with Riven is if you flash stun. And like that's not reliable. You can do it every 5 minutes. If you fuck up, like you either completely lose the team fight or you have to wait another 5 minutes to do it. And God bless poor Heimerdinger. That hurts me inside. I mean, Diana's huge, don't get me wrong. Like, it's understandable. But there is no counterplay to that at this point. You just die. I'm tempted to say that Diana could literally just R and W and like not even bother shooting her Q, and it would. You could R to Heimerdinger and Q point blank and he would die. Like that's the thing right now.
Only if she does.
I was pretty skeptical for Blue Team's composition, but it's actually working out for them as far as countering red teams. You got the Soraka to deal with the Karma Cloak. Very good Viol. They got Soraka to deal with the Karma
I'm
Cloak.
not sure if I agree with that Viol. Just because Karma was about to die anyway, and you could stay there to get another pick. But
Oh, I thought she flashed. That's why I ulted. Yeah, her flash is on cooldown.
oh, she flashed away initially,
Oh, okay.
so she came up.
Yeah, so she probably didn't
her.
have to use a cooldown. I mean, in the event that Tahm Kench ate her, it would be problematic. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that you shouldn't let kills go away because you think that you shouldn't spend less It's good to not want to spend too much resources for something, but it's bad to let huge opportunities get away just because you were too fickle with your resource spending. So like, people always say stuff like, oh, 2 flashes and 2 ults to kill me, lol. Well, if it's at 40 minutes and you have a 50-second res timer, like, that's 50 seconds where you're not putting any pressure on the map at all. Your team can't hold vision anywhere, your team can't contest anything, and your team is just all around, just like has to sit around in base. So it's basically like they got aced, and it looks like that's what's happening to blue team. Wow. That's what happens when Vi doesn't straight
Diana
up.
managed to get a fight.
What happens when Vi doesn't
So
lead
the
Diana?
real issue is they overcommitted on the dragon, because what dragon is that? Like number 3 dragon?
I mean, third dragon
Or
is
it's
bigger
not
than
worth losing
second and
so much
fourth,
pressure
but
to
it's
use
not losing
Baron control. Yeah, because Baron gives purple team an opportunity to siege.
Yeah, because that's what purple team's been lacking this whole time, is like a real way to siege. What they needed to do was have good vision control over blue side's jungle, which they never have. And they needed to be able to like set up picks, which should have been easy with Diana and Riven, but they didn't have the adequate vision for it, and they just kind of got picked a lot. But this Baron will give them that entry point that they need, and that is not how you want to do this. If Vi goes on Lucian, I don't think that's a good idea, especially because Karma's sitting right next to her. You really need to go for Diana in that situation, because Lucian has U moves. He has no attack speed item. Like, when he activates U moves, he's going to have 6 seconds where he's relevant, and then he's going to be autoing, like, supers. I guess you don't run attack speed on Lucian. It's more about the cooldown reductions. That's fine. But I don't... What I'm saying is that Lucian's not as big of a damage threat.
Yeah,
forgot about
especially he
Lucian's
has 2.5 items. He has no armor pen. He doesn't do anything. He barely does any damage to you.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
especially
Diana
considering-
has 6 items.
Yeah, it's a 6-item Diana, and her defense is Zhonya's out, but during the animation frame of like Vault Breaker into Assault and Battery, you will pretty much have virtually killed Diana by the time she's able to Zhonya's. The knockups from Vi's Q and R will have been so long that Vi's damage alone will nearly kill Diana.
And especially when you're pretty much almost pure damage on Vi.
I mean, even Gun and Rose's defensive items are offensive.
Yeah, the giant spell. Let's try and build down to Derrick's. Derrick's would be huge on Vi, actually.
Derrick's would be disgusting. Is that the one that does... Is that the momentum one, or is it the 25%
No,
base
that's
size?
the 25% base damage.
Base damage, yeah.
Momentum would also work here,
That's
but
Dead Man's
I don't think you
play,
really
whatever.
need it for a pick.
Built that on Yasuo against Top Lee Sin last game, and it was disgusting.
A summoner has reconnected.
The new Juggernaut items are a lot more versatile than I think a lot of people are using them as. Like you'll see them built occasionally, but I think that in most scenarios, if you want more damage and you also want tank stats, obviously they're better. But unless you're in a situation where you need to stop an 80 carry, like slow down an 80 carry's attack speed, like a Vayne or Jinx, you don't think they'll be focusing you, then you don't have to build Randuins. You can build Sterix or Dead Man's Blade. Depends on how well it's synergized champion, obviously, but generally they can be better in a lot of situations. Gold is extremely even right now. Even though Diana is fat, there are 3 decent damage threats on blue team. So if they can just stop Diana from killing all of them, they win the fight. Like, what is Karma gonna do? Karma, I would be careful about building the Andrew's Torment. I mean, it's good for with Karma in that she has like a slow on her Q. And I know I'm not a huge fan of Landry's Tournament. I don't think it's a bad item. I just think that maybe something like Rabadons would have been more powerful. Typically, you want to go with Leandry's Torment when you're playing a champion that does a lot of damage over time spells. So, like, I think it's fine on like Swain. If you build it on back before they nerfed Nidalee's W, it was fine on Nidalee because you build Haunting Guys anyway. It's not bad on basically someone that does sustained magic damage. If they add debuffs or anything like that, Leandry's Torment's pretty good because it constantly takes passive. For someone that bursts as much as Karma with her Qs, it's not consistent enough to justify building Leandry's over something else. So like right there, I would have like provided just immediately have ulted Diana and she would have just died in turret there. She seemed playing a little scared.
Here's another thing, when you use Soraka ult, whoever the Soraka player is, you're using it when you have too much health on the team. There's no, you usually like negate first, and if possible, just do an AoE heal that provides a lot. And also remove the debuffs, such as Ignite's 50% healing debuff. That's extremely strong, especially as an AD carry who's trying to lifesteal and survive. So what I would do is make sure you ult effectively.
Bear in mind that Soraka's also level 6, and I don't think he's played Soraka before, so that is good advice though. Yeah, to pick up some champions in the Young Riot store so we could queue in draft mode.
New account, new player?
He's a new player. Just got in the league. And so, I mean, he's been doing a damn good job considering he's level 6. And he's playing a game filled with, like, gold and silver players that's, like, anywhere from top 15% to top 25%. And he's not doing very poorly, honestly. He's doing pretty decently.
I guess it's what experiences. Ardent Sensor is a horrible item on most people.
Yeah.
Build something like the... What's the item that gives you...
Zeke's Harbinger would have been damn
good.
good.
Zeke's.
For,
Zeke's would be also
for
insane.
Jinx, because she would be sitting at, like, looking at 90% critical strike chance. While she's near Soraka, and then Soraka can just constantly heal her. That would be huge. I'm gonna do the support Nidalee and build Zeke's. Give that 70% attack speed buff with 50% crit. That sounds disgusting.
You just play have a support jungle Nidalee and just have a support Soraka who does the same support Braum.
It'd be so gross, man.
It's just like we're playing a tank block.
70% attack speed bonus on Jinx. Imagine those rockets. 100% crit chance rockets just blowing up your face. That'd be depressing. I would quit League of Legends probably. And there's so much poke coming out of that comp. I want to do it. We're doing it, Johnny. I'm gonna play Nidalee mid and build for Joey.
Alright, we're doing that.
Very good Grog Assault. I don't know about the Vial though. That was a sick Grog Assault. Oh, can I get a Jinx Rocket? Jinx Rocket, Jinx Rocket! They were really clumped up, but it worked out, I think. Diana's down. Oh man, that did driven damage. Rocket, there we go. Oh, she misses. Oh, she hit her. A little greedy by Gragas.
Here's the thing as Jinx. You need Last Whisper, pretty much. And you also need to use your rocket all the time in team. because of the AoE and the range is safer.
See that Jinx wanted to pick up. Go ahead.
Okay, so when you use Jinx, it's like, and you use your short range, you spend so much time kiting away just because you're afraid. That's why you have the rockets for more range.
Yeah, so instead of, and you cancel your autos a lot of Jinx, what you need to do is be more perceptive of what your range is for each mode of fish bones, whatever it's called, your Q, and just know that if you're worried about being in risk or being engaged on, just use your rockets. Don't feel like you have to use your machine gun. Like, you should only be using your machine gun if someone's like chasing you down and you're moving, like, dodge, get away from them. And and you can like just pump damage in them because they're gonna be in range of you to use your minigun anyway. Otherwise, you should be sitting in like rocket form with Jinx and just like doing poking damage unless you know for a fact that they don't have any gap closers to reach you. That's what separates like good Jinx players or like mediocre Jinx players from exceptional Jinx players. Is that like if you watched HQ versus Cloud9 Day, you notice that whenever he switches into his minigun form, he knows for a fact that nobody can reach him, or he knows that Tom Kench could like eat him and pull him out of the fight. You don't want to put yourself, when you put yourself in minigun form, you're basically putting yourself at risk, knowingly. Yeah, you get more damage, but if you're not autoing because you're afraid to get engaged on, like you may as well have been in rocket mode. Good fight. That was a bad fight by blue team. So the idea was good on part of Vi. The issue is that they have literally 7 million shield. And by literally 7 million shields, I mean between Diana W and Karma E, like Diana did not go down. They needed to all be together, so if Jinx was closer and she was in rocket form, she could have done tons of splash damage there, and that fight is completely different. The issue is that we had Gragas and Vi super extended towards Baron Pit, and the other 3 people back in their jungle. One thing you need to watch out for when you're playing in solo queue is that you don't have any form of communication, so like they have communication and they made a mistake. Imagine if you didn't have communication, like the mistakes happen like tenfold more. So you need to pay attention to your team's positioning a lot more.
And you gotta remember, as blue team, your win condition is Jinx, because at this stage, Jinx, she's 5.5 items. She outputs the most amount of damage in this game.
I mean, the other thing to keep in mind is that let me say this. If you're overextended from the rest of your team, you need to, or if you're trying to engage for your team, you need to bear in mind how far your team can actually go. So a big problem with like Yasuo or Riven or Vi or any like insert high mobility champion with a huge gap closer here is that you forget that your team isn't as mobile as you are. So you end up going like halfway across the map and you've got a Jinx who is literally the most immobile champion in the game. And like they can't follow you. Like they can't move across the map that fast. You have to bear in mind how far they can go and get good positioning before you try to engage. The problem is that when you're trying to force engagements, you generally have bad positioning, and then you try to make it work anyway, but it doesn't work like that. You have to keep in mind where your teammates are, what they're capable of doing or reaching, and like play off of that. That's something that everyone in this game can benefit from. I mean, I do the same shit too. Like I play Yasuo, I can clear from one end of the map to the other end of the map in like 15 seconds, and my team is sitting in base like Yasuo WTF. Same thing with Zed, same thing with Riven, same thing with LeBlanc, but LeBlanc doesn't have a get out of jail free card, so. Karma's pushed way too far up. Gragas misses the barrel. I would have liked to see an ultimate come out there because, I mean, granted he couldn't see the team, like Karma was so far pushed forward that they could have just killed it for free.
Because especially you had 4 people mid and you see Diana and Riven bot and top.
Yeah,
so you know you have a 4v3. And you don't have the most fed member on their team.
So what Red Team's trying to do is a 1-3-1. So 1-3-1. Oh,
they bleeded.
Damage. Good lord. Oh man, rest in peace.
Good follow by Jinx too, but you kind of way overextended to the top side, and you're gonna give up a bot lane and inhibitor just because of it.
One thing is that we got to be faster on CC. So like, it's the moment when you see Diana walk forward like that, you should already be moving backwards. You shouldn't. Granted, she has higher movement speed than you do. She has the Lich Bane. She's got 2 boots. You got 2 boots. But you're high moving. Her base movement speed is higher than yours. Yours is 404. Diana's rocking what looks like 443, and you have the dragon movement speed buff. So imagine if she had it. Like she'd be even faster. We see Diana pushing forward like that, you need to throw your stun to where you know that it's gonna hit her, so she can't argue like that. Like she moves in a very linear path. Like that's one thing that's very predictable about Diana. She moves in a straight line. That's something you have to take into account. You can't just.
Oh my god!
Doing that.
Diana got so many free kills early. I'm so sad.
Oh wait, no spoilers. Bastards.
I'm surprised it did decent.
Alright, move this.
Thank you.
I don't even remember what I was talking about. But yeah, that's
Talking
right.
about Diana.
You can see that she's gonna go in on you like that, and she's done it so many times this game that you have to be prepared for that. Like, you have enough stuff in your kits where you can just drop down turrets and walk away. You don't have to be standing at the turret protected as Heimerdinger. You have to understand the limitations and like the benefits of your kit. So if you can do something from a distance, do it from a distance. Don't give her an opportunity to Q and R you because you're just gonna get deleted. Also, don't be afraid to use your ultimate there. Like, if that's what you need to do to wave clear the turret and save the inhibitor turret, do it. Like, at that point, they have to engage on you into your ultimate. Gragas, I don't know if that was worth. Oh, he gets out. Dang. Nice. Alright, he had flash. I'll let it go. Although the Kench wants to demand retribution. Yeah, what I'm saying is, don't be afraid to use your ultimate to wave clear to save the inhibitor. It's definitely worth. On like not too long of a cooldown. Gragas is trying to jam this to save Heimerdinger. It's like he's gonna go down again. I think you might have problems just going against like really impressive gap closing champions. A lot of people do. Like so many people consider them toxic. Jinx is doing the most damage right now. That's exactly what they need. This is their win condition in action, boys. Oh, but Jinx, you don't want to walk up to that. Alright, we're good, we're good. Oh, the splash? Oh, the auto?
Oh,
Please?
oh!
Please?
Damage, the damage.
Oh,
Stop canceling autos.
Yeah, didn't cancel those autos. That game would have been blue teams. I mean, maybe not necessarily the game, but that fight would have been
Maybe not.
Sure. They would have had that fight.
I have negative mechanics. That kind of.
I could see that. And Jinx, I mean, she's not super mechanical. I mean, AD carry is a pretty mechanical role, like, period. But as far as AD carries go, Jinx actually is pretty far up there. I'd say Vayne probably has the highest ceiling. Jinx, pretty close, because you have to be able to know. It's more so decision making than it is even mechanics, honestly. Granted, the mechanical part is whether or not you're switching between your rockets and machine gun consistently, and if you're canceling your autos or if you're getting your spacing correct with it. But there's that decision you have to make, like, can I go in a machine gun form? Can I walk that far forward? And against a team like Riven and Diana, they're going to punish you for that so hard when you make the wrong decision. I'm telling you straight up, 90% of the time you just want to use those rockets, man. You don't want to walk up and get up and close and personal with them because they're just going to blow you up. Vi did pretty damn well, but I would have liked... the only problem that I would say with Vi is that Vi made too many decisions that put her in a position where she wasn't able to get support from her team. Like, you can't go that deep when the rest of your team can't follow you. Soraka did a pretty decent job. Good healing done. Healed for 32,000. A 53-minute game. It could be higher, but, I mean, like, he was doing his job, I guess. Vi, 44k, Jinx, 45k. Vi fucking damage. And Diana with the fatty 75,000 damage.
And then I ignited the freaking line like 2 minutes in.
Alright, yeah, I'm gonna tell you guys some quick stuff on your, on like the game really quick. For Vi. Hey, Michael, you were in the position to carry the game. You really needed to. You had to blow up Diana to do it. And you started getting the right idea, but the issue is that you kept going way deeper than your team could. Like, you have all these you have this huge gap closer, you can move halfway across the map. You got Soraka, Jinx, and Heimerdinger. They can't follow you that deep. And so, there was a fight at Baron. Like, if they had been with you, 100% ace. Would have gotten Baron, probably would have ended the game. But you just have to be more careful when you're going in so hard. I mean, you go hard in the paint, like 1 versus 4, just fucking yellow. Soraka, there's a few things I want to talk to you about if you want to improve your Soraka gameplay. I think you did a pretty decent job. Like, most people, if they just started playing League and they got into a game with silvers and golds, probably would have fed their asses off, but you actually dived the least on your team, so good job. Also on your item build, that's the main thing I want to talk to you about. Gragas, you had some really good early pressure. You're out ganking Riven pretty consistently, mainly because like Riven isn't a good pick. It's not meta. I'd be faster with your barrels when you're trying to disengage. You got to be faster on healing them all. I know it's kind of hard to deal with when your carries are getting too far forward and they're just getting blown the fuck up. But you have to be more careful about getting your CC out on time. Otherwise, it's like it has no function anymore. You had some really good engages with your barrel, but I would work on your disengages for sure. Also, your decision making in terms of chasing. Chase a little too much. It's hard to gauge whether or not you're going to kill someone, especially like with Diana, Riven, Karma, where they have like, and Tahm Kench, where every single one of those champions has a shield. It baits you into like making a decision that's like, you know, I probably shouldn't try to kill them because you didn't expect them to pull a shield out. Nipidance, gotta work on making the decision between using your Q and machine gun form and rocket form. Like, you cancel your autos a lot. That last team fight, you guys would have 100% won that team fight if you hadn't canceled your autos on Diana and gotten the reset. That's something that's hard to do, especially against a team with that many gap closers. You have Riven, Diana, and you pretty much always want to be in rocket form. The only time you want to go into machine gun form is you know that the enemy team has no gap closers and no possible way to reach you. Like, if you had a Tahm Kench on your team, if Tahm Kench could eat you to pull you out while you're in machine gun form, that's completely fine. But that's something you're definitely going to want to work on in terms of just being a better AD carry overall. Also, being careful about pushing up in lane too far. But I think you probably had to like help your support a lot in terms of like learning any mechanics. So I mean, you guys did a pretty good job, honestly. Surprise Sex, gotta dodge those crescent strikes, man. A good tip for dodging them is that they always come from Diana's right side of her body, so like if you dodge to your right, generally you'll dodge it, but the easiest solution is to just walk forward. That sounds really counterintuitive, because why would you want to walk toward the assassin that's trying to kill you? But most Dianas, especially when they do a max range Q, they're going to throw the Q out to the furthest point it can possibly reach, and if you just walk forward, it completely misses. She literally loses half of her damage, over half of her damage. Because the Q misses, she doesn't get a reset on R, and if she wants to trade, she has to press R and put it on a 20-second cooldown, and you just beat the shit out of her. I would also shove her in a turret way more. They had a Riven jungle, slow clear. Her ganks really aren't very good because she has to use all of her gap closers, all of her damage as a gap closer to even get to you to do anything. So you could probably just like toss a stun at her and walk away. Definitely abuse the fact that Diana cannot wave clear very well against them.
By the way, something to add for the Soraka, sorry, but is that there's some like really kind of premature ultimates.
Yeah,
like,
Jonathan pointed that out.
Yeah, there were a lot of prematures because I'm not used to the QWERT for the skills, and whenever I try to throw out a silence, I would most often use my ult. So I thought I messed up that a lot.
I would probably want to, at least this is what I do, is I have my pinky on tab, so I don't have a finger on my ultimate. Just so I have to move the finger, which means it's basically, I only ult when I want to ult. But let's do whatever works for you.
Actually, that sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, so, well, I'll talk to you about that. Who was I on? Oh, Heimerdinger. So, I mean, you did a decent job in lane. It was just, like, transitioning into the mid-game. Part of the problem is that you guys did not have adequate ward coverage. It's 53 minutes, and there are two of you that still have, I mean, Soraka's excused, but as a mid laner, it should not be 53 minutes and you don't have your vision trinket upgraded. That should be the level, when you hit level 9, you should immediately buy that trinket. It's only 250 gold. It's like unlimited wards, and that would have saved you in so many situations where you would have just got completely blown up from Diana queuing you from Fog of War or Riven engaging on you from Fog of War. When you play in a mobile mage like that, you have to have good positioning and you have to have good map awareness. Otherwise, you're going to get flanked and blown the fuck up. And that's more of a metagame thing as opposed to like how to play your champion. Like, I think you play Heimerdinger fine. It's just also be like Gragas, be much quicker on your CC. Like, Riven and Diana are walking toward you in a straight line. You can land the middle of your stun on them while they're walking toward you and just outright stun them, and you don't even have to deal with them blowing you up because they're stunned. And then like their abilities go on cooldown. Those are just things that I would work on for sure. Knowing, I think maybe you didn't know the matchup very well. I think like in lane, I don't think he did poorly at all. I think he did pretty well. But I would abuse Diana way more, and then when she hits level 6, you've got to respect it. Diana does so much burst damage at level 6, it's absurd. And if you get hit by a Q, you're pretty much dead. But yeah, those are just like general mid lane tips. Also, like, warding is a huge thing. I can't stress it enough. It would cause you to get ganked less in lane, and it would open up more opportunities for your jungler to gank for you. Jiminy Cricket was spending most of his time in bot lane because that was the only lane that had any semblance of vision control. And I mean, granted, he was also probably didn't want his weakest lane to get behind, and that was also like y'all's win condition, was having Jinx get fed. Heimerdinger offers the support, the utility, the CC, like even some burst, but you guys needed Jinx to be able to be alive. And if you just like set up a defensive perimeter of turrets and just stun them every time they try to go on Jinx, you guys would have had much more successful team fights. For red team, Lucian, I don't have any real criticism. I mean, part of it was because Diana was like hogging the entire show, but one thing that I would work on is whenever you're in team fights, when you were pretty good at not getting caught by things, like you died the least out of everyone in the game, so obviously your positioning is pretty good. But looking at damage, you did less than like Karma and Riven and everyone but like support. So one thing that so don't be too afraid to go in and deal damage. Like I know you don't want to die, you don't want to like give the other team gold, but that's relevant damage. That team, this game would have been much more one-sided if you were doing, say, like 3/4 of Jinx's damage. And like granted, Jinx has like AoE and whatnot, but since your team had so much pressure, you could have positioned a lot more aggressively. So when use Lucian's mobility abilities a lot more effectively, and make sure you interweave your passive better. So like you throw out your W, double proc, Q, double proc, E, double proc, and just be careful. Lucian's a very ability-oriented ADC, and that's not something you can say about most ADCs. Good job on not dying, but definitely try to position more aggressively when you see opportunities for it, because not dealing enough damage in critical fights is going to be a big problem later on. Part of it is like when you're running away, you're kind of just running. You're not autoing while you're running. Lucian is very good at autoing while he's running. Also, don't use the culling at the beginning of fights. That's something you want to use as a last resort, like you're trying to get away, but you still want to damage, so you just hit the culling and like do the fade away. Don't use that to engage fights. Lucian's autos are pretty damn good. Karma. I noticed that you probably weren't used to the amount of upfront damage that Vi does. She has a lot of front-loaded damage. It hurts, and you probably weren't expecting that, but I think for the most part you played it fairly well, using your tether and your slows. Just be aware of the fact that Vi can press R, and it will make every CC that you use on her null and void. So try to focus more on poking out the enemy team, like fulfilling your role, not necessarily split pushing the whole game. Like I feel like you should have grouped with your team more and just set up like a semi-siege where you're poking at them. Like Diana Qs and Karma Qs deal a lot of damage, and even though you have a mid-range AD carry, you guys could have got a lot of work done sitting in, like if you had sieged up in front of a turret with those empowered Karma Qs. Good on the banner of command. Like if you had a Jinx, that would have been fantastic. Build-wise, I probably would have put a Rabadon's Death Cap in here. That's a very good item as you transition toward the late game. I don't know how like, Karma's ratios are, so I wouldn't be able to tell you how exactly good it was, but Rabadon's a pretty good item. You also really need some magic penetration in here, in the conventional games. In this game, people didn't. Yeah, they bought 2 lockets. Blue team don't build 2 lockets. That's overkill.
Yeah, that was just I built it first, and I don't think he was aware of
he may have just been doing the like
recommended build.
Yeah.
That is a recommended build path.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense then. Well, that's not his fault then at all.
Yeah, that was my first item after jungle.
Arcadia,
That was really smart because
Fucking
Diana
Riven
got really
jungle.
fed. Wow.
you did a pretty decent job. You lost a lot of pressure compared to Gragas because you had to sit there, because you got behind and then you just had to sit there and farm. You get behind as Riven. If it wasn't for the fact that this was a 53-minute game, this game could have been ended on 24 minutes by virtue of you just being completely useless to your team when you get behind as Riven. Like, if you, as top lane Riven, you know you get behind, you're worthless. You don't do anything. You don't kill people well. You have, like, a kind of a shitty stun. You can kind of execute people, but you don't really do anything. You need the AD to get the tankiness from Valor. So, if you get behind as top lane Riven, you know it sucks. You put her in the jungle where farm is limited and levels are limited, and the problem becomes tenfold. If it wasn't for the fact that, Vi was just straight up deleting people, and Jinx was doing pretty good in team fights, and like you have like that disengage from Heimerdinger, Gragas, Soraka, like they would have completely rolled over your team. Or I actually just used the other team's justification. If it wasn't for the fact that Diana was deleting people 100-0, y'all would have straight up lost that game. Like from between having low damage out of the AD carry because of not aggressive positioning, and then getting so far behind in jungle as Riven, you would have never built like beyond probably your warrior. Like you may have gotten.
I had like
that.
more than double the farm of Gragas, so I never.
I mean, but that's. But I'm saying that's at the end of the game. I'm talking about like we're talking 15-20 minutes where the game's pretty much you can snowball the game out of control and just completely lose control of the game. If you get behind there on a carry jungler, you are going to straight up lose the game unless the other team doesn't know how to end the game. And like that's what happened with blue team. Like Gragas had a pretty decent lead, but wasn't able to convert it into anything. And if Diana had not been so fed, there's no way I see Red Team winning this game at all. Like, picking carry junglers is really ballsy, and it's just really ballsy, period. You fall behind on damage jungler, you can't like suddenly build tanky and be relevant. You just have to keep building damage, and those items might come at 40 minutes, they might come at 45 minutes. If the game ends at 30 minutes, like, your team's screwed. Diana, really good trading lane, damn good trading for sure. Very good job at understanding how much damage you do and like taking advantage of the fact that you could straight up delete people. I'd be careful about waiting so long to get Zhonya's Hourglass. So when you're playing against someone like Vi, who can just straight up blow you up, I mean, I think you figured that out pretty quickly. Vi just blows you up, and like you wanted to kill people, but now you can't. Especially when the other team has that much CC and disengage. You want to be able to build something that'll get you out of jail free, and you can have another cycle of your cooldown so that even if you do die when you come out of Zhonya's, you can deal sufficient damage to like make it worth. So you can you pick up a kill, you Zhonya's, you wait for your cooldowns to come up during Zhonya's, and you pick up another kill. Like, that's very doable with Diana. I would check out probuilds.com or .net, is it .com? Yeah, probuilds.net, and check out some of the Diana builds. Most Diana players will run scaling CDR and they'll go Nashers first. Your build is very bursty, very front-end heavy, but if blue team had any tankier players other than Gragas, that build may not have worked so well. That's something that you want to keep in mind. You did a good job overall. One thing I would be careful about is that like these players won't punish you for it as well, but as you start getting higher elo, whenever you like base check things, or if you try to set up picks without having a sweeper, like you're probably just gonna get punished and killed for it. Also, they won't let you run over their carries like that, and they'll probably position a little bit better, and that's something you need to be aware of. Like, there's a lot of times where you would go to QR and you just like it was plainly telegraphed you were gonna QR, and against another team like of higher elo, they would have just immediately bi-ulted you, jinx ult, you're dead every time, especially when you don't build defensively. That's something to keep in mind. Tom Kench, damn good saves. You did really well overall. I don't really have much to say other than I would have liked to see you make sure that you keep in mind who on your team is your win condition. For this game, it was definitely Diana. I noticed you were devouring Lucian a lot to pull him out of tight areas. If you had devoured Diana after she QRR'd and waited for her to get her next set of cooldowns up while you have her devoured, you extend the damage that she's doing and the threat that she poses significantly. So now she can go in, do her combo, Zhonya's, do her combo again, get devoured, do her combo again. She's killed the entire team at this point. And it's good that you were trying to take care of your AD carry, but keep in mind that you don't have to take care of your AD carry if your primary carry is your mid laner or your top laner or your jungler. That's just something to keep in mind. Also, careful about going over aggressive. I know you're the Kench. I know he's pretty much invulnerable, but I'd be careful about going quite so ham. But overall, that was a really close game. It was a good game. There's a lot of good things happening. For everyone overall, I think everyone needs to work on their vision. Vision left much to be desired. You guys got to the situation where you would take on the outer turrets, you want to take the inner turrets, but you didn't have, since a red team had no good siege, so they couldn't really do that. So in order to get over that, you have to ward the enemy team's jungle and sweep it, and start getting picks so that you can force inner turrets down. Or you have to take Baron, but Baron's super risky and you don't want to do that. So the smartest thing to do is just get wards out. You can see where they are, you know where they aren't, and you can make picks and force turrets down. So definitely work on your vision game. I wish I had a good resource for explaining where it's good to ward. I think I'll ask Johnny to make a guide.
I think there's a video. I think I saw some videos from Crepo about that. By the way, would the Kazakhs or the Rengar been a better pick?
Not really.
I mean, in your comp, I don't think so. So in your comp, you have 2 assassins, and you have a mid-range AD. You have some poke. Your guy's comp didn't make any sense. So when you have a comp that doesn't make any sense, it's best to pick something that's safe, that has some engage, and can peel decently. Not something that relies on people to hold them in place and for the enemy team to misplay. So if you played Lee Sin or Echo, where you can force those engages.
I banned the Lee out because I want to target Jimmy.
I mean, at least
maybe the Echo, and I could have gone full AP on Echo, right?
No, you go tank on Echo.
No, you'll go tank.
That's the only what damage junglers could I have played? Because I just kind of rely on
none.
Dealer.
You play towards what your team wants, what fits your team best. And in this composition, Damage Echo would not have worked as well as Tank Echo would have. Maybe I could argue for Tank Rengar, but that's season 3.5.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I could have done a Abyssal build on an Echo or some bruiser shit like top lane Echo.
OVO Paradise, as a general rule of thumb, right now in this current meta, I think the only AD carries that matter are hyper carries. If I see a Lucian, I see an Ezreal, I see a Graves, I am not going to give a single fuck about their AD carry, and I'm just going to pretend like it doesn't exist, because comparably in terms of damage, they don't. Like, we're playing in a meta where there's a really tanky front line, games are going really long, and you don't really get punished for having a weak laning phase, because there are so many ways of getting around it, and like top lane TP, mid lane TP, like it doesn't matter if you have a weak lane, just have someone else win it for you. So if you're playing AD, Trist, Vayne, Jinx, like, and on a lower tier Kalista, like Trist, Vayne, Jinx, that's like the holy trinity of just doing fuck tons of damage. And granted, they have their weaknesses in that, like, you know, Jinx is really immobile, Trist is retarded, but Jinx is really immobile. Vayne is also retarded right now, that's why she's getting nerfed. Those champions are on a completely different tier compared to the other AD carries because the damage they put out is insane. So like actually a Trist pick for you guys here would have been really good because when Vi goes Q's in or she like ults in, you just Trist ults her away. Now Vi has used both her God closers to get on someone and she can't get back in the fight, so she's useless. Like that would have completely invalidated the Vi pick, and that would give Diana room to breathe.
Another thing, as Trist, you go so stun buffered her and just jump away from that, or you could jump away from her knockup as well.
Yeah, like that
Fully troll when it
gives you
happens.
so much counterplay to it, and you can jump out of the Gragas ult. I mean, you get the. Does she still have the healing debuff on her E or no? Did you remove that?
I don't think so. I remember only Forest and Cat are the only two spells that 5 bruisers.
So I mean, that's something that would have been good for you guys. Lucian is really strong with Braum. That's like the one composition where I'll be like, I'm okay with a Lucian pick, because Lucian can just sit on top of someone and have them like permanently stunned. Are we doing another?
No,
probably not, because I have an exam tomorrow that I need to study some more for, and yeah. So
maybe
thanks for
Murder
coming,
can do
guys. I'm glad you enjoyed it. We should be doing another one next week. Hopefully we get 2 games in. We'll see. It depends on people's schedules, but I'll go ahead and drop a link for that. Probably on Wednesday, maybe Tuesday. Basically after my exam.
More likely Thursday.
Most likely Thursday. But yeah. If you have any more questions or you need some more tips, I highly recommend you look at the video when I port it over to YouTube. And you can also message me, preferably on Facebook. My name's Khalil Armstrong. That would be much easier than me like having to deal with my league client. But yeah, thanks for watching.